WGBH Newsroom, I'm Adam Reilly, and you're watching another installment of The Scrum, our ongoing conversation about politics in Boston and around Massachusetts. I'm joined today, as I am most days, by our political analyst, David Bernstein, who's also a contributing editor at Boston Magazine, and Peter Kadzis. Guys, thank you for being here, as always. So the Boston mayoral final election is less than 3 weeks away at this point, and it seems like we have a pretty good idea of what the big core constituencies are going to be for the respective candidates. Marty Walsh, at least the conventional wisdom says, is going to get a lot of support from organized labor. Also perhaps the quote-unquote recovery community, which has been the topic of much media coverage. Meanwhile, John Connolly, we're told, is going to get big turnout from parents who have kids in the Boston public schools and are concerned about the quality of their education, especially, according to the Boston Globe at least, mothers who want to get their kids better education. Are there other groups or elements of the electorate that are going to be key for these two candidates that we haven't heard much about? And if so, who are they?
Well, I'm not so sure that there are other groups. I think there are other ways of looking at it.
Okay.
You know, to me, if you look at the sets of endorsements that Walsh and Conley have put together, there's a sort of loose narrative. Now, I'm straining it a little bit, but you know, to me, it shows that the endorsements Walsh has, to me, represent him as the candidate of activist government. You know, he has the cool kids from, you know, local government.
That would be City Councilor Felix Arroyo, who also ran for mayor,
Yeah.
Former State Rep Charlotte Gola-Ritchie.
State Senator Linda Dorsina
Thank
Ford.
you.
That's
Yes.
who is the coolest kid of all. She may not be in the race, but she is the person that people for several years have said she may well be a mayor of Boston.
Right. And John Barrows,
John
who
Barrows.
was
And
mentioned,
John
a
Barrows.
fresher face.
So he has the cool kids.
Okay.
Conley has the neighborhood types, the studious, you know, the kids who do their homework every night, the ministers, the community group leaders. They're both very viable, but one, like I said, is big activist government. The other is, you know, interestingly enough, more grassroots citizenry, but they're like dads who wear neckties and sweaters.
And that would include, I think,
And
just to
loads of moms.
extend your analogy a little bit, the Bay State Banner, the
Yes.
newspaper of Boston's African American community, which endorsed John Connolly recently. David, what do you think? Do you buy Peter's analogy here, cool kids versus studious types?
I think there may be something to that. I certainly think that Marty Walsh is trying with some of those endorsements to show that he's not just a white Irish guy from Dorchester,
Right.
that he has support from these various other types of you know, progressive and communities of color and so forth. So I think he's been very effective at that. But I'm interested also in who's backing who. You know, after the preliminary, there were a lot of folks up for grabs, including people who backed, and I'm talking about financially in particular, who backed some of the other candidates and who stayed on the sidelines during the preliminary. And we're seeing that a lot of them jumped on board with John Connolly. Marty Walsh has continued to raise a lot of money, primarily from the same sorts of groups that he was raising from before, city employees and other union members,
Right.
and folks from Dorchester and so on. John Connolly, and we haven't seen all of it, but he put up a huge number of over $600,000 for the first 2
Yeah.
weeks of October.
That's a lot of money.
And it appears to me that an awful lot of that is coming from folks who had supported Dan Conley in the primary, folks who supported Consalvo. A lot of money from East Boston came in for.
How about Mike Ross?
And Mike Ross also, which you would think would be very split, but Mike Ross's top fundraiser quickly went to work for Connolly, and that seems to have paid dividends. Also, some top fundraisers from the Charlotte Gola-Ritchie campaign. And we're also seeing that a lot of the business development community, who has long supported Tom Menino, stayed out of the race to a large degree, but now they're trying to get with Connolly, in large part, I think, to stop the labor guy from being in control of the city government.
Right. Any constituencies that aren't spoken for yet that maybe both candidates are vying to win support from and haven't yet, you know, assign loyalty to either one?
Skateboarders.
Skateboarders, all right.
No, everyone's up for grabs, and you know
I
what?
agree.
I'm sure someone is working on skateboarders.
Right.
I'm
Or
sure someone
micro-targeting.
is, yeah.
No, and you know, you've got the younger folks who could go either way, among others.
It's time for us to stop talking. Apparently, David Bernstein, thank you as always for scrumming with me and Peter. Peter, thank you for scrumming with me and David. Thank you for watching the Scrum. I'm Adam Reilly from WGBH News. Thank you for watching.